Hi to all our brothers and sisters in the SFC family. I am Sister Shay Coxon. I'm part of the CFC family in the West chapter in Quezon City. I was also a former kids Youth for Christ. Now, of course, venture into SFC, wherein I also attended a lot of Icon and I miss Icon and I've met my God's gift, and now we are serving the the CFC community. Okay, and my assigned topic for this day, it's all about the mental health in the pandemic. So I do hope that you can see my slide, and this is what they call the skydiving, and this is the picture that I have chosen because just like the skydiving, we are all into a big uncertainty, eh? And somewhat, of course, there's also a lot of ambiguity with the clouds out there. And of course, as brothers and sisters, in collaboration with our family and of course with our SFC community, I do hope that we can hold on to each other, spiritual support, personal support, social support, okay? And of course, well-being and of course mental health support, especially in these times of pandemic. So you can just call me Sister Shake. And I'm encouraging all of you to participate with our activity through the chat or comment section. And our hashtag is all about SFC's well-being. And before I start with this beautiful topic that is part of my advocacy and also very close to my heart, I do hope that you focus on the following. You focus on your strengths of health and well-being. I do hope that you focus on your loved ones, your family, your friends, our brothers and sisters in the community. If you are into grad school or post-grad, okay, also the strength of your school, you're working in a company, your organization, of course, our church, and our community. I do hope that we can also focus on our strength of our country. I do hope that we nourish our strengths, our God given strengths. And I do hope that we are grateful for our gift of strengths. Strengths that are rooted from your thoughts, that can become your belief and mindset, that can become your feelings and actions, that can become your behavior and decisions, that can become your habit, and of course, your character strength that will guide you in order for you to be resilient in this pandemic. And according to one of my idols, of course, our strength is in God. And according to one of my idols, Grout, which is one of the best-selling authors in New York, 2020, that whatever you focus on expands. No? So we have to focus on our God-given strengths. If we go for our weakness, I do hope that we can just get all the lessons and the wisdom of the weakness. And I do hope that we can recalibrate it to become our strengths. Okay? And this will definitely expand and it will create a lot of well-being outcomes of healthy mind, growing mindset, being open to obstacles and challenges, and of course, healthy character and holistic well-being. And our objectives for this day is I do hope that at this activity, we can discover, nourish, and value our God-given strength of health and well-being to cope in this pandemic. And this is the situation that we have right now. We are in what they call the age of disruption. Okay? We were disrupted by this unprecedented condition from the traditional face-to-face. Now we are into online meetups like this. And I do hope that you can see the silver lining and the rewards of technology, rather than its weakness. And this is also what you call the VUCA world. Okay? And when I was still a young professional, uh, I've started in my HR practice. I attended a People Management Association of the Philippines conference, or what they call the PMAP. And I've encountered this VUCA concept that was originated in 1987. And I never imagined that this will happen in front of us. No? V stands for volatility, where everything happens so fast. U stands for uncertainty, where we are not aware when it will be finished and only God can tell. C stands for complexity, from the physical disease, financial setbacks, no? And of course, I do hope that we can prevent the deadlier one, which is the mental health pandemic. And it also tends us to go for ambiguity, which is somewhat vague, just like the clouds earlier, that tends us to be fragile with our thoughts, our feelings, and our behavior and actions. That somewhat we tend to be confused with our values. And I do hope that we can have the vision of the CFC SFC family. Okay? I do hope that we can have the understanding and the clarity of our purpose as an SFC member and leader of our mission to our church to renew the face of the earth. And I do hope that we can also have the agility. When you talk about becoming agile, it talks about the flexibility, growing mindset, okay? And it also talks about the speed, the depth, okay? Knowing the depth of the problem and not just becoming impulsive, okay? And not just into sad fishing or oversharing or ranting in our social media accounts. Okay? I do hope that we can also have the accountability, because if we rant, if we go for sad fishing and oversharing, always remember that your right as a Christian brother and sister is definitely not absolute, because it will create a lot of emotional contagion that can what? That can stress other people. And this will be having a tendency of what they call mental health pandemic. So your thoughts, your feelings, and your behavior and how you present yourself is definitely a message that you will give to all our brothers and sisters, not only in the community, but in all the people that we interact. And these are some of the new stresses that were created and recalibrated into the new normal. Decrease in nonverbal stimuli, wherein we are not aware if our office mates or classmates in the grad school are happy or are bored or are sad. Some distractions in the family, working from home, wherein we have our little nieces and nephews walking around. Our parents are doing their thing. Some finances, some financial concerns, some value clarifications, and of course, the different applications that disrupts us. Also, the tendency to be unproductive, to have lack of focus, and the tendency to also be workaholic, work and work without any boundaries. Some negative thoughts about ourselves, our family, of course, our work and future that can also trigger some overthinking that can lead to some negative feelings and sleepless nights. And of course, some feelings of being watched and monitored by our family members and, of course, our bosses online. The need to perform and the need to meet many output and expectations in the many areas of our lives. And according to BAR 2017, we also have a lot of online stresses. So we also have some students here who are now into the online learning. And of course, some atypical behavior is becoming irritable and becoming short tempered because of a lot of screen time. Some unusual behavior like accusatory emails, Of course, a discussion of the post contents of some of the friends that we have, some bizarre, fantastical or paranoid, disruptive posting that triggers stress. And of course, some academic performance problems. According to the study of Sharkin, like late assignments, late projects, juggling your grad school, your post grad, and of course, your work as well, and your duties with your family. And this is what they call the mental health continuum. And it's very important that the simple stresses can lead to big stresses that can lead to distress, burnout, and of course, some symptoms from sadness to loneliness, the lack of hope, okay, meaninglessness, okay, that can lead to some mental health problems. And I do hope in the mental health continuum, we have to really focus on our protective factors, the strength of the mind, the strength of the heart, the strength of the spirit and the behavior, of course, guided and anchored by the grace and mercy of God. And of course, we have to be resilient. The ability to bounce back after a difficulty we're in. When you tend to be sad, it's okay to be sad, no? And it's okay not to be okay for a time. But of course, don't dwell on always being not okay. But you have to bounce back in the resiliency model. And that is what? Your thoughts, your feelings, your behavior, anchored by our prayers and anchored by our perseverance and our efforts. And of course, the right attachment to significant members of our family. Of course, attachment to God. And of course, as a human being, we are a social being. So our loved ones, our brothers and sisters in the community, okay, that will definitely protect us in order for us to prevent mental health problems. And it's very important, okay, that we have to also be knowledgeable and aware of the mental health information. That if there are small stresses that can lead to some burnout and distress, it can also lead to some symptoms. Okay, like if you have 5 symptoms of this over 2 weeks, either depressed mood or diminished interest in the red fonts, and 4 or more of this, weight loss, no, you're not sleeping on time, or you're not sleeping in an ideal manner of usually ideally it's 8 hours, but the minimum 6 hours. If you have some tendency to be somewhat insomniac or hypersomnic, okay, wherein you tend to sleep and sleep. Okay, that is one of the tendencies, according to the American Psychiatric Association, that there is a 90 to 95% tendency for some mental health problems. Before you were calm, now you have what you call some psychomotor agitation and retardation. Now you feel that you are really having a loss of energy and fatigue because of too much worrying, cannot sleep, you cannot eat. That also affects your body. And of course, there's no health without mental health. Okay. And of course, physical health is very important, because if you have poor physical health, then you will have a poor brain and mental health. Okay. And of course, worthlessness or guilt, inability to concentrate. Before you were focused, but because of this pandemic, you tend to have some poor concentration and decisiveness and some thoughts of death or suicide. Okay? So if you have 5 of that over 2 weeks and nearly every day you are experiencing it, it is very important that you have to ask the help, okay, of your loved ones. And of course, mental health professionals. So at first, don't wait for 2 weeks. If it already affects your work, your schooling, your family socialization, okay, and other factors. Okay, don't wait for 2 weeks. At the first week, if you were affected, then you can go for some self-care plan, help yourself. And if it is not really working, have the humility and the bravery and the courage to confront your problem and do something about it and ask for help. Okay? So after your family, your loved ones, of course, anchored by your prayers, it is very important that you also have to go to some mental health professionals like us, counselors and psychologists in the community, and of course, our psychiatrists as well. Okay, so that we can be more into the prevention rather than more into the treatment. And for us adults, okay, SFC, and of course, couples for Christ, okay, if you are an adult and you are experiencing these three or more of the symptoms, just like difficulty sleeping, irritability, okay, increase muscle aches, excessive worry and anxiety that can lead to difficulty sleeping, that can lead to some fatigue, irritability will follow, some restlessness. So if you are feeling this and having this for 3 weeks, 6 months or more, don't wait for 6 months. So if it already affects your day-to-day living, even though it's 1 week, okay, make it to a point that you go for a self-care plan, talk to someone that you trust, your loved ones, and your mental health professionals, and of course, ask for help, okay, so that it can also be prevented. And I do hope that lockdown, I do hope that we can prevent it into having a breakdown. Okay? And it's very important that you take care of your environment. And in social psychology, the kind of environment that we have influence the type of behavior of the people. And our environment that will definitely support our holistic well-being is of course our family, our school, our work, our organization, CFC, our community. Okay? And of course, some technology concerns and some globalization and pandemic can also affect our thoughts, our feelings, and our behavior that can somewhat trigger some problems in our attitude and, of course, psychological well being. So it's very important that you have a healthy family, healthy relationship, full of forgiveness and trust and love, online learning that is stable. Okay? I do hope that your work is also somewhat considerate and flexible. And I do hope that we can adopt and be innovative with this technology and the fast facing world that we have so that we won't be affected, especially in our thoughts that can trigger negative feelings, behavior, and character. And I do hope that we can understand what true well being is all about. And true well being is not just mental, it is not just physical, it is not just, of course, spiritual, but it's really a mix and harmony and balance. Also, together with the new concept of Nina Hersher et al., it's also all about flourishing in the digital age. And that is what you call digital well being and well being pillars. Okay? And of course, we have to take care of our privacy and security. No to sad fishing and overthinking because there's a problem of boundary and of course accountability, especially for those who follows us, our brothers and sisters and our loved ones. And I do hope that we can also engage into civil and mindful interaction that can lead us with a digital footprint and identity that is healthy. And of course, a lot of tech literacy so that we won't be left behind by technology. And my question now is I do hope that you can participate with our activity. Uh, what is the most important aspect of your well being in order for us to flourish in this new normal? Okay. So for us, it can be, of course, it can be a family, of course, our God, no, through the intercession of our Mother Mary and saints and angels, of course, our goals in life, our missions in life, okay, our friends, and our brothers and sisters. And this is the anchor of the webinar. Okay, we're in. I'll be using a little of CBT, which is a cognitive behavior model by Dr. Aaron Beck and of course Judith Beck. Dr. Aaron Beck is a well-known psychiatrist in the world and of course his daughter, Dr. Judith Beck, who who founded eh, the cognitive behavior model that they've created, which is the cognitive behavior therapy, which is one of the evidence-based technique in the world for the promotion, prevention, intervention, and treatment of well-being concerns. And we are thankful to God that Filipino counselors were trained at the Beck's Institute for this once in a lifetime training, which is one of the best trainings that I had in my entire life as a psychologist and counselors. And we also brought them in the Philippines with the grace and blessing of God. And we also train counselors and psychologists, of course, in the Philippines to advocate for this evidence based technique. And I'll be bringing it earlier, just some little techniques about this evidence based model. And of course, I also went to one of my idols aside from Aaron Beck and Judith. Okay, I've also went to Dr. Martin Seligman for at the University of Pennsylvania, when you can where you can also see the Positive Psychology Center. Okay, and I will be advocating for this technique for today, and it's all about the strengths-based approach that we focus on our God-given strengths rooted from our thoughts, feelings, and behavior that can also give us the individual strengths, our personal qualities, our abilities, our talents and skills, and of course, our interests and aspiration. And I do hope that after our individual strengths, we also have the gift of our environmental strengths, which is our number one resource is our God, our family, our friends, and of course our community and the many opportunities that we have. No, and if we combine all of these strengths, we can have what we call superpower of strengths anchored by God's mercy and guidance and grace. And we can have better quality of life. And of course, we will accomplish because of if we focus on our strengths, and we can have recovery of power that was diminished by pandemic. And of course, we can also be socially integrated. And these will have an effect in our daily living, our finances, of course, our spirituality, our work and our education, our social network, recreation, overall health, sexuality, and spirituality. And this uh, these strengths can give us also the right attitude to reach our fullest potentials and dignity. And of course, it will also give us the capacities and even the unrealized strengths can now be realized. It can also give us the rights. We can also understand our quirks and differences and even similarities. In the study of the American Psychological Association, okay, specifically by Lead Peter et al., no, 2004, that the trend now in the mental health is we have to focus on our strengths rather than the problems because strengths can build us more strengths and resources. Imagine if you will focus early morning with the negative problem that you have, maybe you will be what? You will have a hump and you cannot move on and motivated to do something. But strengths based is giving us also prevention rather than intervention. It has a long term effect. It is proactive rather than reactive, and it will give us and sustain us with more strengths. And of course, it will also be applicable to different variations of risk from mild, moderate, severe, and profound. And these strengths, okay, can also what? Okay, I do hope that you can also shut down. What is the first symbol that comes to your mind when you talk about strength? It can be your God. It can be the logo of CFC and SFC, okay, which is one of our most important family. Okay? Maybe our rosary, our prayer time, our loved ones. Okay? And this strength can give us the capacity to manifest our energy, to endure, to withstand great force or pressure, to resist temptation, and to do the things that need a lot of physical and mental effort. And these strengths can also give you the positive attributes and assets and not deficits. And your strengths can be in different various forms. It can be your what? So write some of the strengths that you have that helps you during the pandemic and somewhat help you to cope and of course prevent your worries. So what are some of your interests, your skills, and your resources? It can be your Netflix, no? But not too much lang. Okay? It can be your calligraphy, your journaling, your yoga, your mindfulness. Okay? Of course, your mission in the SFC community, evangelizing. Okay? And I'm going to tell you a little about myself. And one of the things that really cope me, no, and help me with my interests, no, in this pandemic is what we call this peer program with our youth, helping the youth. Wherein we created the peer organization of the Philippines because we believe, no, just like our Youth for Christ, we believe in the potential of the youth, helping youth. And most of the schools in the country and even government agencies also have this peer group or peer facilitator. Of course, some advocacy that I have, no, serving the community, are some of radio guestings, no, for my mental health, family, and marriage and pro-life advocacy. And because of that, I do hope that you can watch our show with Father Tito Kaluwag. That's every Saturday. And of course, that is the title is Wonder Teacher, 45 p.m. at the DCMM, ABS-CBN Teleradio, that advocates for the family and of course the youth and of course the family well-being and of course the school. And of course, we are also blessed that we have our God, we have our community, no, that really supports us. Okay? And of course, our loved ones. This is my little family, okay? And my boys. And of course, my service in the parish as a lector. My husband is into lay ministry, and my son is into being a sacristan. And of course, these thoughts, feelings, and behavior can also give us what they call the character strength. Okay? And it will give you faith. Of course, it will give you hope. It will give you love and will give you a lot of character strengths. Kindness, forgiveness, no? Gratitude. No? If you are grateful for the air that you breathe, the water that you drink, the small blessings that you have, that we are still alive. No? These are really the gift that is definitely lasting and can definitely help us in our psychological well-being. And in the Gallup's model, always remember that if you have the strength, okay, which is talent, which is a natural and God given way of thinking, feeling, and behaving, and you multiply it with a lot of investment, a lot of purposeful effort to practice, develop, and build your knowledge, then we can have what they call the strength, which is the ability to constantly provide near perfect performance. And always remember, according to Grout 2020, that you too and all of us is a field of energy and strength, online and offline. And one also of the things that you can also have is what you call the digital citizenship and well-being pillar. That you have to have also the strength of digital foundation to protect your security and privacy, digital wellness, healthy screen time, avoiding a lot of distractions, focusing on your goals, digital engagement. I do hope that we are inclusive and safe. And of course, I do hope that we also use our technology and our many applications to enable to be a good influencer. You can also create your blogs, no? And of course, to be an inspiration of a brother and sister in SFC, and you can also evangelize through the technology. And of course, this will also give you additional opportunities, career growth, and income. Okay, and a very important technique that we need to use, okay, in times of adversity is what you call the cognitive model. So if there are situations just like this pandemic, what you will do, I do hope that your thoughts, no, that there are silver lining with this pandemic and it's not totally bad. No? And I do hope that we don't exaggerate that everything is bad about pandemic. Eh? But you can see that the silver lining of that, when you pause and don't entertain your impulsive thoughts and process it, you can see that there are a lot of rewards, especially rebooting, our bonding with the family, being closer to God. No? And if we have great thoughts, then we can have a great belief that there are silver lining in these times of pandemic. And this will create good feelings, that you will be calmer, and that you will somewhat be in control and not be anxious. And of course, it will lead to a positive behavior, and it can lead to a positive physical reaction, that you are motivated. So the problem, it is not really the situation that is the problem, but the problem is how we negatively react to the situation. So if we negatively react to the situation that everything in the pandemic is bad, so your thoughts will be everything is bad, and your belief is everything is bad, then your feelings will be irritable and your behavior will follow. You will have what you call avoidance, and of course, failure will happen. Okay? And I do hope that we can positively respond rather than negatively react, because the problem is not the situation, but the problem is how we manage and respond through our thoughts. Okay? And according to Grout again, that you impact the field and draw from it according to your beliefs and expectations. Grout 2020. And always remember that we have to be careful with our automatic thoughts, because our automatic thoughts can be quick thoughts. We have to breathe. We have to go for some mindfulness activity so that we can process our thoughts, and it won't be a quick thought that can make or break our lives. And it can become what you call a cognitive distortion that can be a block in our mind and in our life not to be successful. And of course, always remember that why do we distort reality? Because everyone does. And we are all guilty about it. That's why it's very important to pray, ask God's guidance, breathe, and process everything in order for you to have the self control and for you to have the proper management of your thoughts. And these thoughts can lead to what you call feelings and behavior, and it can also promote your character strength. If you think of love, then you will be loving and you will have a character strength of love. If you are grateful and hopeful, then there are a lot of positive well-being outcomes, and worries will be prevented that can lead to some mental health concerns. I do hope that we can also have forgiveness, free yourself from hate and jealousy, and of course, self-control, especially about sex, vices, okay, hurt, contempt, and always remember that a healthy psychological well-being is, of course, centered with love, because God is love, and this will also provide us our hope, our meaning, our purpose. Okay? This will also provide us gratitude, optimism, and of course, our purpose and meaning as a singles for Christ. Your role in the family, your role in your company, your schooling, and of course, your community, your church, and of course, our country, wherever we are. And in order for us to change to happen, and for us to really have the mental health and well-being, always remember to identify our strengths, go for our weakness, get the wisdom and recalibrate it to become our strengths, continuously develop these strengths. And if you will continuously develop it, you will master it and you will be happier and you will find the meaning of your life. And this meaning can give you your opportunities to share your blessing and advocacy, and positive expectations will come. And a great change of strengths base will happen. And always remember that with our strength, and God is our strength, number one strength, we can create infinite possibilities that we never imagined. And according to Greg Norman, that know your strengths and take advantage of them. And of course, you can also curate a lot of self-care activities, like in your work, know your boundaries, in your spirituality, of course, prayer time, reading the Bible, sacred spaces are very important. Social, no, you have to have really the right support system and avoiding toxic people, okay? And of course, physical, personal, emotional, like journaling, and of course, a healthy environment that is centered with God. And of course, some of my work with Unila Foundation and FEU, we also advocate for this mindfulness technique in order for us to really have the energy of a lasting, no, energy of the mind, the body, and the spirit. And always remember that I've anchored this also with the strengths-based health and well-being. Of course, very important is to build upon your strengths. Do what you enjoy. Only enjoy what is good is, and of course, anchored with the will of God and not on the fake enjoyment of vices. And of course, emphasize on the positive. Build upon your hopes and aspirations centered with God. Okay? And of course, build upon your family, of course, our community, and of course, our country. Okay? And I would also like to promote this cell and character well-being book that I've created, which is what my career journey. I do hope that you can check it out with the Rex publication, Rex Education Family. And the proceeds of that will go to my organization, the PGCA, for the scholarships and mental health advocacy of the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association in the country. And we are for the holistic well-being of the CFC, SFC family. And I do hope at the end of this activity, I do hope that aside from becoming a brother and sister, we are definitely an advocate and a helper, and a responder, okay, of our strengths of health and well-being to our loved ones, our friends, our brothers and sisters, our strength of the school, the company that we have, our SFC organization and other interests, our community, and the strength of the country. I do hope that we can nourish our strengths, and I do hope that we are grateful for the gift of strengths. And I do hope that you be the best you. Share your power of strengths, which is coming from God, for a healthy psychological well-being and a flourishing new normal. And at the end of this activity, I do hope that you learn something, especially about strengths. I do hope that you will stop something, especially about negative thoughts, and that I do hope that you can also start a life of strengths centered with God, using your mind, heart, and body, and of course, your character. And I would also like to invite you to our show with the DCMM Teleradio with Father Kaluwag every Saturday, 4 to 5 p.m. Wonder Teacher. So that's also available even in our TFC. Okay? And of course, we also have what you call the Family Wellbeing Conference with my work with the Unila Foundation on February 12 to 13. So I do hope that if you have time, I do hope that you can go to our FB page, the Bayanihan for Wellbeing. And we are also in some meetings with the CFC to partner with this. I do hope that they will approve our MOA. So go to the FB page of Bayanihan for Wellbeing to advocate for family well-being. And thank you so much for inviting me over. I'm so blessed to be invited. And I do hope that I have shared some of my strengths with you, centered with God. And if you want to reach me, you can like my page, no? My FB page and Instagram, Sheikh Guevara Hoxon, my YouTube channel, Sheikh Hoxon, and of course my LinkedIn, Dr. Sheila Marie Sheikh Hoxon. And this is your sister in Christ, your forever sister and tita in Christ, Sheikh Guevara Hoxon. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. God bless you all and enjoy the rest of the SFC International Conference. So thank you so much.